Shadow Slave is one of the most popular web novels in the world, and I can confidently say that it's one of the best reads I've seen so far. The main characters are by far some of the most realistic I've read, and the MC isn't some overpowered guy who can solo everything. This story actually has people cooperating to take down the enemies. So today we'll be analyzing the popular trio, Nephis, Sunny, and Cassie, and how their relationship dynamic has changed through all the hardship they have been through. So let's get into it. Obviously there'll be spoilers up to chapter 400 because that's where I stopped, so be warned. First we have to start off with our main character, Sunless. This guy is a complete asshole, but a smart one. He doesn't think twice about killing scum off the earth, and he actually has a conscience when he kills someone who isn't scum. Like in the first arc in the Snowy Mountains, I was surprised that all the characters that we were following were completely wiped out by the nightmare creatures, besides Sunny of course. But all the characters, including an Awakened Knight, were outwitted by our boy Sunless. Well, treacherous Sunless, because he poisoned their water to kill them, just because he had a suspicion that these people aren't as great as they seem. The key word here is outwitted. He doesn't get some crazy power boost, but uses his brain that is forged from the outskirts of the city. Like, no way does an MC actually use their brain. It's crazy that I have to emphasize this, but most manhwa, anime, and novels always have the MC fighting their way through everything. Like, come on, can you not have avoided a fight or thought of a different way? That's the first time we see that Sunny has more depth than we initially see. Most characters have two faces to them, some purposely forged and other forged due to the nature of the situation, which is realistic. People aren't going to open up to you as soon as you see them. Most of the time, you're dealing with a mask that they put on to look better for society. You don't actually know what they're thinking about. To label someone a good person just because they did one good act doesn't mean they're a good person. The young knight that Sunny killed at the end of this Snow Mountain arc is a prime example. Although I was hoping he wouldn't die because he was being nice to Sunny. I mean, he offered Sunny his water and he freed him from his chains. It seems like even I got deceived by his kind behaviors, because he ended up trying to end Sunny's life to save his own from the tyrant. I like how the author captures this aspect so perfectly. People don't have their intentions shown on their face, words, or actions. To think that they do is naivety at its finest. There are not many one-dimensional people in real life, and I hate when authors make these types of one-dimensional characters. Anyway, getting back on track to our boy Sunless, he's one of the best manipulators in the story because he doesn't trust anyone. He grew up in a place where people would kill someone in cold blood just for a petty argument. His parents died for the negligence of the government, while his baby sister was adopted and taken from him. He is a street-smart, hardened person, not because he wanted to, but because he had to become one. That's how he survived, and I think survival is one of the rawest human natures out there, because the only thing on your mind is to live another day. We see his distrust of other people through people he became friends with, Nephis and Cassie. We all know his flaw makes it so he can't lie, but that doesn't mean he can't misconstrue the truth. He did that with Nephis and Cassie, because although there are people who he needed to survive, who got his back against the nightmare creatures who threatened his life, who actively saved his life, his ways of survival doesn't fade, it actually heightens. It's hard for him to trust people when he's been backstabbed one too many times. You know, a famous Chinese warlord once said, "Before the world betrays him, he will betray the world." And that's the exact philosophy Sunny lives by. His philosophy doesn't fade because he met good people. He sees it as a beneficial exchange for the party because as much as he needs them, they also need him for his shadow abilities. So he continues to act for his self-interest. And of course, as the story progresses and he actually gets to know them, he inevitably forms a camaraderie with them through all the countless life and death encounters they have faced together. Even though his philosophy doesn't agree with this kind of friendship, it's hard to go back into isolation when it's so much funner to be around this party. It's most clearly demonstrated at the end of season 1 when the squid monster attacks their ship. Nephis and Cassie are dragged into the dark sea. Although he could have saved himself like he always did, he decided to take a page out of Nephis's book and save Cassie, who is blind and helplessly dragged into the sea. When Nephis doesn't return, he feels a tinge in his heart, but when she miraculously crawls up to the safe zone, he feels relief, something he would have never felt in the Snowy Mountain arc. His character development from complete mistrust to subtle trust is heartwarming because he lived in a place where people always backstabbed each other. During his adventure with the party, he even starts to think of Cassie as his sister, which is why her betrayal is even more heartbreaking for Sunny. I'll get to her in a bit, but Sunny doesn't also develop his character. His development also regresses. He gained conscience and some moral principles, but at the end of the Red Spire arc, he has to go against that development to kill his friend Nephis, which is one of the most heartbreaking moments I've read so far. He found a group that he can trust in, and now he has to take one of them out. Obviously, it's hard for him, but in the end, he has to survive. The context of the battle I'll go into later in the video. He ends up winning, but at a devastating cost. He finds out Cassie revealed his true name, which due to Shadow Bond, one of his attributes, binds him and Nephis into a master-slave contract. This was an unexpected betrayal, even for me. I was wondering why Cassie was distancing herself after Sunny went into isolation to clear his mind, but now I know. Her betrayal is even more heartbreaking in my opinion. Sunny trusted her. She knew that he didn't trust people easily. She knew he thought of her as a sister. I thought their dynamic was so cute. But that betrayal hurts. Revealing his true name like it was some chump change was such a low blow. Even if she favored Nephis because she saved her in the Forgotten Shore, that's such a scummy move. Like, did your relationship with Sunny mean nothing to you? She practically chose Sunny to die instead of Nephis, someone who treated you like a sister, saved your life, and protected you when you were adapting to your blindness. Sunny went out of his way to save her because his conscience that he gained told him not to abandon Cassie, and she threw that all away for a fate that didn't even change in the end. She set up the board just for it to fall flat in her face, and I want to like Cassie's character. I do. She is such a sweet girl who even gave Sunny a happy birthday, but come on, that type of betrayal is something that leaves a scar on a person. That's like finding out your parents has a favorite child. I could feel all of Sunny's memories of her fading into hatred. It's not a betrayal he's used to because it came from someone he trusted, and now going forward, he's probably going to have a harder time trusting people. Now, the aftermath. When he gets through the gate and finally returns back to reality, after Nephis sacrificed his life to save his. Well, partially. He's left isolated. He only trusted Cassie and Nephis. He doesn't really trust Kai and Effie, but Cassie brutally betrayed him, and his only trustworthy ally is stuck in a dream realm, unable to communicate with him. It's like he's back in square one, talking to his fictional rock. But he's not. The trust he has in Nephis has made a new high after her partial sacrifice, and due to her being the only person he can confide in. He brings flowers and talks to her comatose state in the sleeping pod. His character development went up and down and up and down, all for him to be left alone again. Also left in the world where the only selfless decision he made cost him his only family. His one sister who grew up in a nice neighborhood with a wealthy family. I can only imagine how that feels, but it's definitely a terrible feeling. Now let's move on to Nephis, who I would say checks more of the main character boxes than Sunny. Family slaughtered? Check. Revenge? Check. Willing to do anything for that revenge? Check. Nephis at first glance is your typical cool-headed archetype. She's powerful, but she's socially awkward, which is kind of cute because it's not like crippling social awkwardness, but very subtle, which is very fresh since most stories exaggerate the hell out of their characters. They're either very shy or very talkative. Nephis is in the middle. Oh, and she's also batshit crazy. She's a fighting maniac. She takes on threats that are way above her pay grade. She even drags Sunny into her mess. She's definitely more powerful than him, which is such a nice touch because we finally have a heroine who's not a damsel in distress, and is more powerful than the MC himself. Her ability is broken. She has the ability to heal and destroy. Her dynamic with Sunny is actually very natural. In the first half of the Forgotten Shore, she actually doesn't talk that much, besides when it comes to combat. It could be her social awkwardness, but it feels more like a transactional relationship. We don't get to see her personality besides that cool and indifferent front she puts on for the group. But as she learns from Sunny's behavior, she actually becomes as malicious as him when it comes to deception and manipulation. She makes the entirety of the Forgotten Shore worship her like a savior. She has the most impressive manipulation masterclasses in the story so far. She created a revolution in the span of a few months, exactly like how it is in history. You have the working class who are tired of the elites exploiting them, so they rally around one powerful leader, which is Nephis in this case, and storm the castle. It's amazing how intricate and decisive she is when carrying out her plan. She knows what she is doing, and I'm here for it. She wanted Effie in her party, so she marches into the enemy's castle, kills one of their commanders, and brings his head to Effie. She also wanted people to rally around her, so she gave them free food and made it seem like she was their savior, when in reality, she was going to lead them to a suicide march to the Crimson Spire. Sunny actually catches on to her scheme and surprisingly confronts her. Who would have thought Sunny, the moralist person, would be confronting Nephis about morals? But this confrontation actually begins their friendship. Nephis, who barely opened up to him, begins to talk to Sunny like a true conversationalist. She trusts Sunny with her life, and she actually starts treating him like a friend. They are not only comrades in battle, but now they think similarly. Sunny even begins the next stage of trust by confiding his backstory and his secret about killing someone in cold blood. Nephis does the same throughout the second half of the Forgotten Shore arc. She even smiles at Sunny when he tries to parrot her techniques using his shadow. In the second half of the Forgotten Shore, their friendship is definitely more prominent. In the first half, Sunny learned about her through the countless life and death battles. They just needed a glance to know what the other needed to do in battle. But when they open up to each other, that connection is strengthened, which is why it was so hard for Sunny to follow through with killing her. He knew he was going to end up fighting Nephis because of Cassie's vision, but he sure as hell didn't want to. Not only because she can pummel him, but because he's her friend. I don't know if Nephis felt a sense of duty, or she felt like Sunny deserved to live more, but she threw their duel so that Sunny could leave through the gate without hesitation. Obviously, if she said, "You can go," while leaving her behind, Sunny, who had gained a conscience, would have never gone. She knows Sunny almost as much as Sunny knows himself. That reveal is just as they're getting split up. I mean, Nephis cares a lot about her party. I still don't know if she holds Sunny in the same regard or in a special place, but their dynamic is more combat-wise and sharing their pain with each other. I forgot to mention, but Nephis also doesn't trust people that easily. She was being targeted for assassination since she was 5 years old, so that's also a nice touch to their relationship. As far as her character goes, it's more the fact that she gets better social skills, she learns how to trust people, and her relationship dynamics over time. But one hidden fact that we learn at the end of the Forgotten Shore arc is that she feels a sense of duty to protect. She doesn't want to become like the Sovereigns who leave a trail of cold-blooded murderers as they go. Even though she'll go through more trials and tribulations because of that decision, what's the point of a revengeful goal if in the end, someone like her is born from her vengeful actions? And this author gets revenge right. Though it's the most idealized form of revenge, it's still amazing to see that his characters have so much depth to them. Now the last of the trio, Cassie. I like Cassie's character. Her interactions with Sunny are so cute. She's innocent and kind-hearted, but goddamn. When her character was first introduced, I was actually pissed that Sunny didn't talk to her more. Yes, she is blind, and no, I don't need to be reminded every single time she's there. I don't know why the author does that, but how can you not talk to the only person that wants to talk with you? She is just too sweet. Again, that happy birthday is such a nice small gesture, because Sunny probably never celebrated his birthday after his sister got adopted. And the cute moment where she outplays Sunny during their journey to the Hollow Mountains and says, "Sunny, you have the treasure, give," is so cute and heartwarming. It just feels like they're very familiar with each other's presence. Her dynamic with Nephis is less impressive, but that's because we don't get to see many of their conversations. As far as character development goes, I would say the most development came from her strengthening her ability to fight. In the first half of the Forgotten Shore arc, she was weak and helpless, only helping out a few important times in the Soul Devouring Tree arc, but in the second half, she could actively help out her team with her echoes, so it does show a bit more resilience than the weak girl in the first half, but we all know what gave her the most development. Like, how could she do that? Her betrayal is one of the most impactful moments in the story, not only because I even felt betrayed, but because her decision to give Sunny's true name to Nephis is absolutely game-changing. If she didn't, Nephis and Sunny would be fighting in the Forgotten Shore together, and Sunny wouldn't be a slave to his master. This moment shows her cowardice. She didn't want to lose Nephis, so she sacrificed Sunny. She based her assumption on her vision that Sunny was evil for killing Nephis, but it was far from the truth. Sunny cares just as much for Nephis as he did Cassie. She didn't talk to him about her interpretations. She just tattled his true name and hoped for the best. It's no wonder nothing changed. Sunny is treacherous, but he has treated them both as best as he could. So why did she do that? She could have just waited at the gate. There were so many ways to go about this without leaving it up to chance. From my point of view, this damage is irreparable for her relationship with Sunny, which is too bad because their dynamic was so cute. But she basically chose Nephis instead of Sunny to live. She gave Nephis all the benefits while distancing herself from Sunny. She demolished his trust with one decision. Sunny is rightfully angry at her. Even if she did want Nephis to survive, what about our boy Sunny? It's just painful knowing what Sunny's been through. Her cowardice cost both of her close friends for absolutely nothing, and I know she regrets it so much. Her vision states that she felt like something precious was taken from her. It pains me to say, but her development looks like it's going towards a path of becoming stronger, colder, and more calculative. Her wholesomeness is going to be a shadow of the past. If you like the breakdown on these Shadow Slave characters, feel free to like and subscribe, and see you later.